Imagine a room lit by the faint light of a candle, where thought rises like invisible architecture, tracing blueprints of morality, freedom, and duty. Now imagine that there, sitting in silence, is a mother. In her hands tremble letters from her adult son, a mixture of gratitude and distance, and in her chest a whirlwind of questions. Did I do it right? Why does he no longer need me like before? Motherhood, when not renewed alongside the maturing of the son, can become an inverted ethical system where love turns into control and guidance into prison. I, Immanuel Kant, who dedicated my life to the study of morality and freedom, must say that the maternal bond, when crossing the border from childhood to adulthood, requires a radical transformation, and that transformation demands virtue, emotional intelligence, and, above all, reason. The mother of an adult son finds herself at a crossroads: to continue treating him as a child and risk destroying his autonomy, or to allow him to be a man, even if that means stepping away, making mistakes, deciding for himself. This essay is a letter to those mothers, an invitation not to emotional detachment, but to the morality of mature love. I will present to you 5 things you must avoid as the mother of an adult son. 5 common mistakes that, although they may seem like acts of care, are obstacles on the path to the freedom of that being you brought into the world. But 1. Do not use love as a currency of moral exchange. The first trap of immature love is to condition, a mother may say, without realizing it. After all I did for you, this is what I get. But by uttering these words, she turns love into a contract. Love cannot be demanded as a debt. From the standpoint of ethics, this means instrumentalizing the other, treating him as a means for your validation, your comfort, or your emotional needs. And this, as I stated in my categorical imperative, is immoral. Your adult son does not owe you his life, because life was not a transaction, it was an act of love. And every act of love, to be pure, must renounce the expectation of return. When you use guilt, sacrifice, or nostalgia as tools to force your son to act as you wish, you are preventing his will from self-determining. You are saying, implicitly, do what I want, or I will withdraw my affection. And this, mother, is no longer love. It is emotional blackmail, dressed in sweetness. 2. Do not interfere in decisions that no longer belong to you. Your son is no longer a child. He has crossed the threshold of adulthood, which implies that his reason no longer depends on yours. Insisting on giving opinions about his partner, his career decisions, his schedule, his expenses, is to pretend that you still rule a kingdom that is no longer yours. Remember, giving opinions without being invited, questioning from moral superiority, demanding without asking, these are subtle forms of emotional colonialism. Let your son choose, even when he makes mistakes. There is no greater sign of respect than trusting in his ability to rise after falling. Your wisdom as a mother is not measured by how obedient your adult son is, but by how much you have sown in him the ability to make decisions freely. 3. Do not use the past as a perpetual argument to condition the present one. Of the cruelest forms of love is to constantly recall what you gave in order to obtain what you now desire. I gave up my youth for you. I sacrificed myself. I gave up everything. These phrases, though real and emotional, become chains when used to blame motherhood, when authentic does not expect eternal gratitude. True love is asymmetrical. It gives without expecting. That is why it is so great when your memories become tools of pressure. They cease to be a sacred story and become a testimony of debt. And a son who constantly feels in debt cannot breathe, cannot create, cannot be. The story of what you gave must be lived with silent pride, not as a moral argument, because you gave it freely, because you did it out of love, because, in your moment, it was your choice. Point 4. Do not project your unfulfilled dreams onto his existence. I want you to be a lawyer, because I couldn't. Get married young, so you don't suffer like I did. Don't do what I did, do what I wished for. When you project your desires onto your son, you are not loving, you are colonizing. Every human being has a unique vocation. Expecting your son to fulfill what you couldn't achieve is to demand that he live a life that is not his own. It is to take away his chance to discover who he is, to force him to be who you wanted to be. True love does not impose inherited dreams. It blesses them if they are shared, but it never obliges. Do not fulfill yourself through him. Fulfill yourself through the joy of watching him choose his path. Point 5. Do not confuse presence with control. Learn the art of virtuous detachment. Being close does not mean being on top, and to love does not mean to possess. A mother who calls 5 times a day, who demands to know every step, every conversation, every silence, is not demonstrating love. She is displaying insecurity. Detachment is not lack of love. It is its highest form. Allowing your son to make mistakes, to fail, to suffer, to choose poorly, is an act of moral bravery. It is to say, I trust you, even when I don't understand you. Do not fear losing him. Free sons return. Those who live in cages escape. The only way to have a lasting relationship with your adult son is to renounce being the center of his universe. You must become his lighthouse, not his chain. Epilogue. The moral mother and the free soon. Imagine for a moment a relationship where the adult son does not act out of guilt, fear, or obligation, but by choice. Where the mother, instead of demanding presence, offers respectful silence. Where love is not measured in calls, visits, or favors, but in the freedom to be who one is. That bond, mother, is eternal, because it is born of autonomy. And where there is autonomy, there is morality. And where there is morality, there is dignity. As I said in my philosophy, the human being reaches fulfillment when acting out of respect for the moral law within, and you, as a mother, can be part of that fulfillment. If you are the first to respect that law, love your son, not as you loved him as a child, but as he deserves to be loved now, with trust, with intelligent distance, with noble detachment, and, above all, with the certainty that the seed you planted will blossom, when you stop holding it, because, in the end, the privilege of a mother is not that her son needs her forever. It is that, even without needing her, he chooses her again and again. From freedom. That is the highest love, and also the most beautiful.